Okay, we'll start off the first question. When did you first hear about the world's fastest drumming organisation?
Well, at the time I was visiting my parents, and a mate phoned me up and said, "Oh, have you heard about this fastest drumming thing?" And I've never really been into it, because initially I'm thinking about music, and I'm into the groove, I'm into all that, and the muso and all that. And I wasn't really bothered for a while. But anyway, I had a quick look on the net, and I seen all these people playing. And I was like sort of gobsmacked in a way, because it is extreme. There's people like breaking fingers, straightening wrist muscles, pulling the shoulders out, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute.
There's a lot to this, isn't
there? There is a lot to it, yeah. And I'm thinking, because I'm mad, I'm mad in the way that like I walk across glass or firewalking.
I think that actually is mad.
Yeah. But it is mad. But and that's sort of the actual madness and the circus, if you will, of it all. You've seen dwarfs playing it. You've got like big blokes playing it. You've got like women, wet t-shirt playing it, all kinds of stuff. And it is literally like you've got to think that in America where it's set out, you're in a boxing ring, and you've got referees, and you've got hundreds of people. It's in an arena. And it's like massive.
Hasn't always been like a stigma about this organisation?
There is, yeah. The stigma is the fact that usually comes from drummers. Actually, funny enough, that usually say that it's nothing to do with music. It's non-musical. It's it's weird and it's not right. But what they've got to realise, it says extreme sport. And that's what it is, it's a sport. Okay, you use sticks and use a pad, but the way I've thought about it this morning, knowing that I was going to have an interview, when I was in the bath, I was thinking the only way I could speak to you about it, Nick, is the fact that when you've got somebody on a snowboard and they're going down to do a half pipe, you haven't got all the crowd going, put the wheels back on, put the wheels back on. And this is the same with this, it's nothing to do with drumming. It's a sport, and it's an extreme sport, and I think that's where some people have missed the picture. That's why it's so exciting when the local drummers, if you were, in the local pubs sort of go, you're a good drummer, and suddenly a guitarist comes along, or somebody who's got nothing, or a rugby player comes along and sits on and kicks their backside, and they're doing that, or they're doing something with the feet. Everybody goes, whoa!
Because it doesn't matter who you are. You can be in this competition, compete, and you compete against amateurs, pros. It's really no holds barred. Anyone can enter this. But what would you say your biggest contributions are to the world's fastest drummer?
Okay, my biggest contribution to WFD is actually speaking to Boo in January, not having any money, wanting to do it. Realise what a big task it was, and within 3 or 4 months is to be able to get grant money from my local authority and book a 19-day tour, create a website, and
do you sleep as well in between?
I do suffer from insomnia. I probably sleep between 6 and 4 hours a day. It's like that when I was since I was 25.
And you summarise this experience, because this is a big part of your life, really.
It is really. I really wanted to join WFD to compete, really, and I was probably putting in 4 hours a day, and I was drumming probably 8 hours a day. In total, with teaching and everything, I was probably doing 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. But when there was nothing on the net and things wasn't happening, and this really frustrated me, so my biggest contribution is actually to get the UK together to make this happen, so somebody can actually go online and see their score if they've done it, and straight away, so it's up to date. But me competing wise, I'm not so worried about competing anymore. I'm just interested in directing it in my regional area, which is the UK.
Yeah, and as you do in the UK, you've opened up a new sport, and it's an extreme sport. So how extreme is this as a sport? You've mentioned a little bit, but what's the most extremist sport can get, like injury-wise?
Okay, well, if you're a little tot and you're like 3 or 4, as long as I see them, because people put the head down when they play. It's like keep your head up. So don't want to hit anybody, but people do hit the faces. Up to when you come up to say adults like ourselves, or maybe people who haven't got into it, as long as they don't like sort of rip any muscles and that. Usually the amateur people get through it with no problem. But if you start going into the idea of a professional, just like a runner or anybody like that, you have to, if somebody's going to really compete and get some high numbers, you have to practice for at least, I would say, 3 or 4 hours warm up, and then practice in between each of your heats. Because if you don't, you're going to go on like that. And I've known guitarists, say for instance, not doing WFD but doing the world's fastest guitar in. They've done this and they've played 1200 beats per minute, and they've got up there and they've got arthritis within 6 months and the career's over. So there is what you have to treat it. You have to treat it. It is a sport of physical and of mind as well. Because if you really want to go for the big league, you've got to treat it as a total professional ideal.
Yeah.
Else you're going to injure yourself and you're going to ruin your career.
So obviously there's all sorts of exciting stuff involved with this, but there's also the outreach program.
Yeah, the WFD programme in general is, you've got like the competition which we've spoke about and we've been interviewed about, which is the mad, the fun part, the extreme part of it, and then you've got the school outreach programme, which I am doing, which is part of my tour. The fact is that you go around to centres, you go around to schools, you go around to your local authorities, to different places, and get booked in and work with people. So it helps create communication. It's a fun thing to do. I mean, I was dealing with some kids. F-U-N. Fun. I seen some kids the other day, and they was in an arts craft, and I says, and I was making finger snakes, and I says, can you make me a WFD finger snake? And I was quite happy to do it, because a week before they was in the local centre drumming and queuing up, because it's almost, especially where kids are concerned, once they're playing something, they just want to have another go, and where adults are concerned, they're a bit more shadier, especially English people are a bit more reserved. But once they have a go at it, it's going to be great, and especially if it's in a pub environment, which I'm going to be doing the charity part of the tour. People are going to get blasted basically, and they're going to go. It's almost like hitting the bell in at the circus to see if you can hit it.
It's quite fun. I mean, you've got you've opened up so anyone can enter this, and you've got big sponsors involved in this. I mean, these aren't just little guys, these are some of the big players involved in this.
Yeah, I mean, you spend your life as a drummer for 20 years playing on all different types of events and stages, and I've never really been into the endorsement type of thing, but with the WFD, it is a worldwide organisation, and it's quite cool to understand that there are really big manufacturers who are backing this up, who actually see the beneficial side of it, also the side of like where it creates good stuff for the music industry, although it's a sport, and also how it can link to other sports what's got nothing to do with music either. So people see the bigger picture, which is that excites me.
Well, this is massive. This is global. How did you even start this whole thing off? As far as getting involved in the UK in the first place, it's a massive task in itself.
It is a task. I mean, you sit down and you think, how can I do this? And you make a plan, and I'm going to put it up in the news on my website actually, how I did it from January till now, which is in
my website.
Yeah, just spoke to Boo in America, had an idea for gigs, so there's about 3 points, 4 points in each month, all the way up to recently being endorsed by Tamer and Silja and Remo. I'm saying these, but these are names that I grew up with.
They're massive. Names.
They're massive.
Just type them into Google. They're massive.
I mean, the days of watching Buddy Rich playing certain cymbals, or Neil Peart. I was into loved Rush and many other bands that I played. I mean, I've played Tamer drums for all my life anyway. But it's just these people now. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm getting free stuff thrown at me. It's the fact that it's starting off. You have to have a report, so it is going to be like stickers and T-shirts and leaflets and goodies and bits and pieces. But that's more than I had like 3 months ago, and so now instead of like trying to get the local drummers where I live together to do something, I'm saying, well, it's not that I'm not bothered, but it's just the fact is that I've got phone numbers to speak to people who are the main distributors in England and Europe now, which cuts a lot of stuff out,
yeah,
which is quite good.
I mean, what you say that, but what actually is the next step for World's Fastest Drum UK? I mean, it's a lot. You've covered a lot already, but I mean, what is the future for this?
Well, the future for WFD UK is basically make sure that it's got a good system in place, i.e. the website, pictures, videos like what we're doing, having like a ringmaster, which is yourself, by the way.
They're going to have a ringmaster.
Yeah, and basically get this tour over and done with. I'm going to meet a few people along the way. It's no point saying in the interview who I'm going to meet, because you're going to see in the future I'm going to meet. Get a little bit of a vibe about it. Get this year over and done with, so I can really celebrate the fact that from nothing. From the UK and the USA have got together and connected the US and Australia and China, and it's gone across, so that is, that's the UK and Europe is the bits that's missing. So if I can actually create something that's like a little vibe like that, so next year when it comes to maybe going on holiday, or maybe even being in a band or doing whatever has to be done, I can start like venturing out. Like I said, people from Europe are probably going to come to England to some of these events I'm going to put on, because there's nothing over there. So this is where I'm thinking, I want to think about the UK at the moment, now the UK, and then think of Europe, and there's nowhere else. I think once you've got that, and you've got like all that, and you've got everything in place, that's where I want to be.
Well, extremely inspiring stuff. Sean, thanks ever so much for your time. Do check out the website, WFDUK.co.uk.
Yeah, that's the one.
There's a big banner that actually says that. I was pretending I couldn't read it from here. Check out the website, all the information's on there, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Too much.